Newcastle Falcons have their second Premiership Cup match of the campaign. They are at home to Doncaster. Kicks off at 3 o'clock. As I say, the Falcons won at another Championship side, Caldy, last weekend, but their consultant director of rugby, Steve Diamond, says today might be a step up.
Yeah, it will. And I don't, in the competition in the early stages for the Premiership clubs, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you put 60 on them, then the competition's not worth doing. And if you win by 10 points, then there's not a huge difference between the two competitions, as in the Premiership and Championship. This week will be different. Again, Doncaster have had some close defeats. They're a good side. They're well coached. They've got a really passionate owner, and we'll be taking them seriously. We've got a good training week set in front of us starting today, and we need to perform at home.
Indeed they do. So that's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Like I say, commentary of that one on the BBC Sport website and app with Dean Gray. So that is where to head if you want to listen to that. A couple of other bits and pieces in the basketball, the Men's Super League. It is Newcastle Eagles away at London Lions at 4 o'clock today. And in ice hockey in North Division 1, Whitley Warriors away from home as well at Widnes at 5:30. In Rugby Union's Autumn Internationals, 2 big games today as well, after England beaten by Australia in an absolute cracker at Twickenham yesterday. Wales take on Fiji today. That kicks off in about 30 seconds time, actually, at 1:40, and Scotland take on the world champions South Africa at Murrayfield at 4:10. And Mark Cavendish, the most successful cycling sprinter in history, ended his career today with victory in the Tour de France Criterium in Singapore. The Isle of Man rider triumph in a sprint finish to bring a successful curtain down on what has been a magnificent 19-year career. But Nottingham Forest against Newcastle United will be our focus from the City Ground. Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson, it is all yours again.
Thanks very much, Colin. Good job you were there to pick up when our technology failed us. But we're back live from Nottingham, from the banks of the River Trent, as the warm-ups continue ahead of the 2 o'clock kickoff. Newcastle with an unchanged team, but with Jacob Murphy and Matt Targett back on the bench. We were enjoying a trip down memory lane with John Anderson. Oh, you weren't enjoying it so much.
No, couldn't remember it.
Journalist Martin Hardy from The Times. You were just about to, I think, deliver not quite the punchline, but the payoff to your story, Martin, just before the
I'm not sure where that finished, but I think you mock technology, and technology will have the last laugh.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sorry, to kind of go in a circle to where I started talking about that game way back in '85. Chris Waddle was unplayable. And
he was brilliant.
Scored his hat-trick in the first half, which drew the attention of clubs like Tottenham, who would sign him a couple of years later. In that period, the club had unbelievable players like Chris Waddle, like Peter Beardsley, and like Paul Gascoigne, and you knew they were going to sell them. It was a matter of time. Michael Walker, a journalist from Northern Ireland who lives and works in the North East, had a great phrase when Kevin Keegan was there, and he said the direction of travel changed when Newcastle started signing players like Alan Shearer. You were bringing great players back to the region. The frustrating part of all this is that we're not quite sure what Elliot Anderson would have done for Newcastle, but I certainly think he would have developed, and it's a potential star player that the club didn't need to sell because they have the money. That's what's frustrating about PSR. They don't need to sell Alexander Isak, they don't need to sell Anthony Gordon, but the problem you have is they have a turnover of £250 million, and Tottenham, who are signing players like Dominic Solanke, who Newcastle quite like, and Brennan Johnson from here, have a turnover of £550 million. So they are taking the players that Newcastle would have taken. That's why, to come right the way around, this team is very dependent upon Eddie Howe, because whoever I speak to, whether it's a player, a coach, an ex-coach, will tell you the level of coaching is so good and so intense that he makes players better. And the proof of that this week was Lewis Hall, who a lot of people were probably writing off last season, has had a brilliant start this season, and could be the England left back for 10 years.
Absolutely. Well, Martin, thanks very much for coming back on. We've enjoyed chatting to you.
Pleasure.
Just remind us where
I'm not sure about that.
You're going to have a look at that career record, Ando, and see if it.
You could have given us a heads up. I might have been able to get one or two.
You yourself forgot it.
Yeah, we did rather spring that on you.
We did, yeah.
Where can we read your work? Where can we follow you?
If you go to the Times online or buy a copy of the Times tomorrow, covering football and generally sport in the north, but essentially a lot of Newcastle United as well. And As ever, it remains a fascinating club to follow.
Sure does.
Cheers, Martin.
Martin Hardy, great to speak to you, live on BBC Radio Newcastle. So the team that plays against Forest this afternoon: Pope in goal, Livramento, Cher, Byrne, Hall, Bruno Longstaff, Willock, Gordon, Joelinton, Isak. It's unchanged, and we expected it to be unchanged. Ando, after what they were able to do against Arsenal, even though some of the substitutes that came on, Tonali in particular, did have an impact, but it was always likely that he would stick with that 11.
Look, I think it would have been harsh on anybody had they been left out after the performance against Arsenal last weekend. I think everybody played their part. It was a great team performance, a lot of real good individual performance as well. A few eyebrows were raised when we seen the starting 11 before the Arsenal game. A lot of people thought that Tonali would start, especially after his performance against Chelsea in the Cup in the midweek, but that wasn't the case. The three boys in midfield were great because the balance just looked better, because they give you something different. Willock gives you something different, good carrier of the ball, good athlete, gets you up the pitch quick. No surprises at all that he's named an unchanged starting 11.
The bench: Dubravka, Tonali, Barnes, Targett, Osula, Murphy, Almiron, Kelly and Miley. And Nottingham Forest also unchanged, only 4 points behind Manchester City after their dodgy run, but a little bit further back from leaders Liverpool. You may have seen the statistic during the week. Forest have the same record after 10 games, which is 5 wins, 4 draws and a defeat, that their East Midlands neighbours Leicester did during their title-winning season. But what Leicester didn't have was Liverpool, who've opened up, or another team, such a big lead. But 3 Premier League wins in a row for Nuno Espirito Santo and his players, and it's Matt Sells in goal, their regular first-choice keeper, the ex-Newcastle man, the Belgian international. Ola Aina at right back, Nikola Milenkovic, and the exciting Brazilian Murillo, who just gets the ball and just goes with it and charges up the pitch. Can help Forest sort of break through the lines and progress up to the final third. Talented player, very popular at the City ground. Alex Moreno on loan from Aston Villa at left back. Ryan Yates, the captain, and Nicolas Dominguez in central midfield. Anthony Elanga, previously Newcastle target, and an attempt made to get him on transfer deadline day, unsuccessful. Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left. Both Elanga and Hudson-Odoi scored in this fixture last season. Morgan Gibbs-White is back from suspension and injury, played last week, starts again behind the big man Chris Wood. 8 in 10 in the Premier League, 5 in his last 4. The Forest bench today: goalkeeper Carlos Miguel, who played in the cup tie in August, also named as substitutes for Nottingham Forest this afternoon. Morato, Nico Williams, Elliot Anderson, Taiwo Awoniyi, James Ward-Prowse, who's on loan from West Ham, Jota Silva, Ramon Sosa and Willy Bolly. We're going to hear from Eddie Howe shortly. 15 minutes to go until kick-off. The players making their way back into the changing rooms. Newcastle substitutes: Tonali, Osula and Barnes, the last to leave the field, along with John Ruddy, who's travelled as the spare player, the extra goalkeeper. Let's hear a little bit from the Forest camp, because Chris Wood is the Premier League Player of the Month, and Nuno, the coach, well, he also won an award last week. He was named Manager of the Month.
Compliments and players having the recognition is good, but it's also the moment to stay on track and believe that what we've been done or what we did before doesn't mean anything if we don't do it again on Sunday against Newcastle. This is what we are thinking about. Newcastle, it's going to be so hard. Such a good team, such a good players, coming from a good result on the previous weekend. City ground, buzzing. So this is what we are looking forward to. It's a very good team, very good squad, immense quality, very good manager. Tough match.
Forest boss Nuno, do you think they can keep this going, John Anderson, or with Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester United in 3 of their next 4, that maybe it will sort of level itself out after the really good start that Forest have made?
Look, they've had a good start to the season. You can only beat what's put in front of you. You know, you're saying they've got what they've got coming up, but you've got to remember that they've already gone to Anfield and won this season. You know, nobody else has done that. Nobody else has been able to beat Liverpool. So all you can keep doing is I suppose the oldest cliche in the book, isn't it? Take one game at a time. You know, take one opponent at a time, and come the end of the season, see where you are. You know, but they've had a very, very good start. There's no doubt about that. They are where they are. They deserve to be there because of the results that they've had so far this season. Whether they can keep it going or not, only time will tell.
It's BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds live from the City Ground ahead of Newcastle United against Nottingham Forest. It was a draw here in the League Cup in August before United went through on penalties. In the Premier League this season on their travels, not a lot of success so far. 2 draws, 2 defeats and only 1 win in 5 Premier League away fixtures.
Our away performances have been a slightly mixed bag, so the consistency hasn't been absolutely what we want it to be. I think the Fulham game's a standout negative for me, where we didn't perform at any level. I think the other games we've seen really good bits within the games, and then some inconsistent moments within the same game. And I think to win on the road, you have to have that solidity and that energy and everything that we always speak about in terms of our best performances. We need to see there right from minute one, especially against the teams that are in form and doing well. And Nottingham Forest, every time we've been historically, the atmosphere there has been electric, and we expect no different. This will be a really tough examination of our away form and our mentality when we go on the road.
Nottingham Forest away on Sunday. You've already played them at the City Ground this season in the League Cup. They're having a great season, aren't they? 3rd in the Premier League table as it stands. Yeah,
they are, and I think Nuno deserves huge credit for the job that he's done. They have, I think, recruited really well in recent transfer windows. I think they've added some really good players to their squad. They've got a way of playing that really works for them, very tough to play against. I think you can see from their defensive record this year how strong that is, and what a test that's going to pose to us to try and score against them. And I think that's given them the platform then to score at the other end. A really solid defensive base with really good pace in wide areas and threats in the forward positions.
And Chris Wood was a very valuable member of your team and your squad, but during his 12 months playing for Newcastle, he didn't give you the goals that he's been able to score for Nottingham Forest. But how happy are you to see him flourishing, having made that move?
I'm delighted for Chris on a personal level, because I think for me it was never lost how well he played for us. He did everything but score. In terms of his positive performances were so important in our efforts to stay in the league, especially that first season when he joined. The work that he did, the unseen things, the bringing other players into play. I think if you asked his teammates that played with him in that season, they'll say Chris was one of the reasons that we changed our position in the league and was able to win consistently. But he just didn't get the goals that then elevated his performances, or probably got the wider world seeing what a transformation he played in our team. But he was very selfless, he was very team orientated, and that's why now on a personal level for him, he's getting the individual accolades that his goals are bringing him, and I'm delighted for him personally. A great lad, great attitude. I think he had a really good time with us, and really pleased to see players go on and do well.
Total Sport North East.
Matthew Raisbeck and black and white legend John Anderson.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Eddie Howe speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle on Friday. Today, this game is the 600th league match of his managerial career. The first was back with Bournemouth in the late 2000s, a 2-1 defeat by Darlington away from home. Eddie Howe, the Newcastle United manager, naming the team that is unchanged: Pope, Livramento, Cher, Byrne, Hall, Bruno, Longstaff, Willock, Gordon, Joelinton, Isak, Sean Longstaff. This will be today a 6th Premier League start out of 11 matches this season. Whenever he has started in the league this season, Ando, Newcastle haven't lost. The other 5 being Southampton, Bournemouth, Spurs, Wolves and Arsenal. You can interpret statistics and records in different ways, but maybe that tells you something. Eddie Howe might say to you that there is a better combination and maybe balance about the midfield when he is in the team, and he tends to pick him when he's available.
Yeah, look, I think it's all about balance, Razor, to be quite honest. You know, a lot of people thought when Tonali came back that the midfield 3 would be Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton. You know, good players in their own right, good individual players, but just because they're individually good doesn't mean that it's a combination that's going to work. I don't think it's a combination that has worked so far this season. You know, I thought the combination against Arsenal, Willock, Guimaraes and Longstaff worked very, very well. You know, I think they complemented each other. I think that's what you've got to do. You know, you build partnerships, and I think that partnership in the middle of the pitch of those 3 worked very, very well against Arsenal, and he's kept faith with it again today.
The teams make their way onto the pitch, led out by referee Anthony Taylor, who's from Cheshire. He did this fixture last season. His last Newcastle match was the 4-1 win at Burnley in May. The Newcastle substitutes and staff make their way across towards the bench on the right-hand side of the halfway line. Eddie Howe among them. Friday marked exactly 3 years since Newcastle United brought Howe to St James's Park.
When you look back at the 3 years as a whole, you just think, I think back to loads of positive memories, lots of good feelings, and so pleased with how it's gone. I'm so thrilled to still be sat in the position and still dreaming of what may lie ahead. You always want more, you're always not entirely satisfied because we haven't got the one thing that we wanted when we came in, which was a trophy. That's the dream, that's still the dream, and it's still driving us, yeah.
So an anniversary for Eddie Howe at Newcastle United this week. 3 years in charge for the Magpies manager. Stands in black with thick coat on, pitch side, hands in pockets in the technical area as the players take off their maroon and black training jackets to reveal black and white stripes, black shorts and white socks for the outfield players. For Newcastle today, Pope in green and yellow, and Forrest red shirts, white shorts and red socks, and Sells, the goalkeeper, in light blue. There are now movements towards the centre circle. Events to mark Remembrance Sunday are taking place around the country, and shortly there will be a period of reflection here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest, Sells in goal, Aina Milenkovic, who came in from Fiorentina in the summer and has done well, Murillo, Alex Moreno, Yates Dominguez, Gibbs White, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi and Wood. And the Forest bench, Carlos Miguel, Morato, Williams, Elliot Anderson, Awoniyi, Ward-Prowse, Jota Silva, Sosa and Bolly. And now Newcastle line up to the right-hand side at the back of the centre circle. Nottingham Forest the other side. Players huddled together just as they did at St James's Park before the game at Arsenal. Newcastle United now joining Nottingham Forest in paying their respects to the armed forces.
Forest Forces Veterans Programme alongside serving personnel from the Mercian Regiment and military veterans Sergeant Matthew Gilmore and Corporal Ryan Knight. Nottingham Forest Football Club wishes to honour the people who have lost their lives in service. The last post will be played by Forest Forces veteran Paul Wright. And we ask you to join us in a minute's silence, which will start and end on the referee's whistle.
listen to BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Sounds and NUFC TV. Now Newcastle United and Nottingham Forest players go into a huddle. Some final words from the two captains. Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle United speaking to his players. Ryan Yates of Forest. And the Magpies unchanged. Pope in goal. Livramento, Cher, Byrne. They're both on 4 yellow cards in the Premier League. One more means a suspension. Hall at left back in the England squad for the first time ahead of going on international duty with the senior England team. Bruno, Longstaff, Willock scored after 18 seconds here in the League Cup in August. Gordon, Joelinton also on 4 bookings, and Isak up top. We're underway. Nottingham Forest play the ball back, and Newcastle now have a throw in at left full-back. Lewis Hall on the near side goes to retrieve it. United kicking as we look from right to left towards the Trent end. Forest win it back edge of the area through Gibbs-White. Bruno looking for Joelinton, and a foul by Joelinton, and that took 25 seconds.
Yeah, could have let play go on, couldn't he? Thankfully he didn't. Yeah. Langa looked like he was in around the back.
No punishment for Joelinton, but a free kick on the wide right for the home team. And lining up on the edge of the penalty area. It's not quite 10 yards from the edge of the box. Joe Willock stands near the corner of Newcastle's 18-yard area. Nick Pope, a couple of yards off his line. It's lifted in by Elanga, and it's there to be won in the 6-yard box. And then Chris Wood with a powerful shot driven towards goal that went behind, but there's an offside flag up, so Newcastle won't have to defend a corner. But Chris Wood hit that with some venom.
Yeah, he did. It was a good block. Hall put his body in the way of it. He didn't know the offside flag was going up.
Made a couple of big blocks last week, didn't he, Lewis Hall, against Arsenal? Another one there. It was from the initial free kick. It looked tight, but maybe there was a player in the middle, possibly Yates, just ahead, and he actually won the header. Down for Wood. Newcastle's bench, by the way: Dubravka, Tonali, Barnes, Target, Osula, Jacob Murphy, Almiron, Kelly and Miley. Pope, after 2 minutes, up the pitch it goes. Joelinton header on, can't find Isak. Aina slices his ball into the middle of midfield. Elanga, then that goes backwards towards left back Alex Moreno, heads it over halfway. Cher comes to nod on. Bruno for Longstaff, laid off to Gordon, lifted forwards towards Isak, 10 yards inside the Forest half, but the home team have got it. And Gibbs-White to Hudson-Odoi, dispossessed by Gordon, drops his shoulder, goes on the outside of Gibbs-White, made decent progress. Alex Moreno won it, and now Newcastle have it back. Livramento to Cher just in front of the penalty area. Dan Byrne, cross it comes to Lewis Hall for Newcastle, who dropped 12th in the table after results yesterday. They'll go up to at least 9th, but possibly as high as 6th with the win, and if other results go their way. As long as they avoid defeat, they won't drop a place. Cher, diagonal ball, Aina, comfortable header, back to Sells. Second best defence in the Premier League, Forest. 7 goals conceded in 10. Matt Sells, the man in between the posts for all of them. Longstaff in the middle of midfield to Joelinton. Good ball around the corner for Willock, and here's the running and the progress that Joe Willock likes to make into the penalty area, looking for Gordon, and it's hooked behind by Alex Moreno.
Great break, great ball as well. Moreno couldn't take any chances, had to put it behind.
That is what Joe Willock gives Newcastle, and does so well. Gets on the charge, and they can't live with him, they can't keep with him. Strong, powerful, quick running, and a really good left-footed whipped cross in.
Yeah, it was into a great area, wasn't it? Stuck it into a real good area.
Lewis Hall's gone across to the far right-hand side. to deliver the corner kick flat to the near post, headed out by the first defender. Livramento hoists it back up, and it's bounced in the box. Aina has got Cher at his back. He's had to keep it in, the Forest defender. Now plays it against Fabian Cher and wins a throw next to the corner flag. 0-0.
Yeah, just squeezed them in, didn't let him out. Forest got a throw in, but it's level with their own 6-yard box.
5th minute on BBC Radio Newcastle. Wood header up the line. Hall plays it against Elanga, kept in by Gibbs White. Hall wins an important header, touched it back to Dan Burn as Forest were trying to get away up the near side. Then a foul on Willock, close to the touchline next to the Newcastle technical area. And free kick given by Anthony Taylor. Assistant referees today, Gary Bezic on the near side, Adam Nunn on the far side. Michael Salisbury's the 4th official. VAR is Tim Robinson. Ball at the feet of Lewis Hall. Now Joe Linton. He's got the yellow ball. It is orange boots. Plays it back to Hall. Byrne, 10-yard square, the back of the centre circle. Cher up the line. Gordon's dropped in. Then an angled ball to Isak. They could be in Newcastle. Isak, right-hand side. Crosses into the middle towards Willock. Livramento got a barge at the edge of the box. No free kick. Stayed down Livramento as Forest now get into the Newcastle half. And Gibbs White is brought down by Dan Byrne. The referee has given the free kick. And no booking for Dan Byrne, that Newcastle will be very, very pleased and are possibly a bit fortunate with. But Livramento hasn't been able to get up since that earlier challenge at the start of that move, and they've sent on a member of the medical staff to check on him. Was it a foul on Livramento firstly, and is Byrne lucky not to get booked?
I think he hasn't booked Dan Byrne because he knows he's made a mistake. He should have given the free kick.
It's Ryan Yates.
Had his back to him, didn't he?
I don't know if he's caught, just maybe caught him with his arm around the chin or something. I mean, across the face, isn't it, as they challenge for the ball, Ando?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's a yellow card all day, isn't it?
For Byrne?
Yeah. But I think because he's...
Now, there is a yellow card, but is it for Byrne or is it for somebody, possibly Bruno, for dissent? We'll need to have that confirmed. But Anthony Taylor has brandished a yellow card in the direction of... It appears to be a player in black and white. I think it is Dan Byrne eventually.
Took his time, didn't he?
Dan Byrne has been yellow carded, so will miss the home match against West Ham 2 weeks on Monday after the international break. Now Tino Livramento has a facial injury. It's around the mouth. I think there's some blood. He hasn't been given a new shirt, but the clear contact. Why would the referee not blow up when Yates collided with Livramento?
He obviously seen nothing in it. It looked a free kick all day long, didn't it?
And he's got the wounds and the scars to prove it. He's looking in the direction of the referee and with an expression of disbelief and a shake of the head. Livramento. We're in the 8th minute. It's 0-0, but there's been a stoppage because of the arm in the face of Livramento and the treatment that he has needed. Now normally you are supposed to go off for 30 seconds before you come back on. He's jogging back towards his position. I don't know if he will be told
going off, isn't he?
To go off and then come on. So he's going off where he would expect to come on. But not only have they had a player caught around the face, didn't get anything. Forest break, Dan Byrne gets yellow carded and is now suspended, and they have to defend this free kick next to the centre circle with a player less. So than they should have. 11 v 10. Forest, Murillo clipped out to the near side and it's gone straight out. Left-footed from the centre back.
Strange free kick, wasn't it?
Elanga couldn't keep it in.
Strange free kick.
Still 11 v 10. Livramento not back on. Hall to take the throw. Gordon's dropped in at right back. Throws it up the line to the chest of Joelinton. That's gone backwards. Dan Byrne's got Chris Wood on his shoulder. Plays it to Lewis Hall. Back to Byrne. Big clearance from the big man. Up the line towards halfway. Livramento's on the field. And a couple of headers in midfield for Forest. Now centre-back Milenkovic. He's a big boy, 6'5".
Yeah, he's a big fella, isn't he?
International with Serbia. Sent it up the right wing and then out of play. Hall to Byrne. Bit of space into the box to Nick Pope. Closed down by Wood. Byrne starts to come forward slowly, trying to find Joelinton with a clipped pass. It's beaten him, and Ola Aina, the full-back, is able to take a touch, play it to Milenkovic. Wanted a return ball, went down. Nothing given other than Newcastle throw after it went out.
He just seemed to lose his footing, didn't he?
Referee tells Aina to get up.
Yeah.
Hall to Joelinton on his thigh. Elanga behind him. Back to Byrne. Cher in the middle. That's where it goes. Livramento gives him an angle. That's the option that Cher takes. 15 yards from halfway. Bruno back towards Livramento. They get the free kick for that, Newcastle. He's obviously trying to make it up to them, Anthony Taylor. Quickly taken. Bruno to Gordon. Livramento on the outside. Gordon up the line for Livramento. No offside. Low ball into the middle. Cleared first time. Cher helps it forwards again. Hudson-Odoi across the pitch, straight to Joelinton from one wing to the other. And Newcastle have it back. Hall, nice ball through a gap for Joelinton towards the goal line. Hangs up across, it's too high for Gordon. Hudson-Odoi's header straight to Willock in the box. Joe Willock, left-footed shot, just wide. Willock cut inside.
He's had a strange couple of minutes, Hudson-Odoi, hasn't he?
Got the effort away, Willock, just inside the penalty area. Matt Sell's always happy that was going wide, and indeed it did.
Yeah, I mean, just a strange header from Hudson-Odoi, straight back into the danger area. Just a couple of seconds earlier, he played one, a weird volley across his own 18-yard box as well.
No goals yet at the City ground. 12 minutes on the clock. Forest playing it out from the back, straight to Longstaff in midfield. Bruno up to Gordon, close to the edge of the penalty area. Play won back for Forest by midfielder Nicolas Dominguez, and now from the back of the centre circle after a clearance, Dan Byrne to Nick Pope. Hall inside to Byrne, and there's a bit of room for Byrne to work into. Reaches the middle of United's half. Cher back to Byrne, and then over to Cher again. Now the diagonal ball. Willock moves out of the way, leaves space for Joelinton, who takes a touch with his right foot on this near Newcastle left wing. Back to Hall. Longstaff free in the middle. Hall drops his shoulder, goes on a run, then plays it to Longstaff, centre of the Forest half. Good ball to bring in Livramento. Takes a touch, low cross straight at Murillo, who clears.
Yeah, poor ball, wasn't it? Good break again. He got on his bike, Livramento, got into a good area, but he just picks out the first defender.
There's plenty of space for them on that far side. The two fullbacks, two attacking fullbacks involved in that Newcastle move. Now Livramento with the throw. Gordon goes backwards and sees the ball thrown into his path and stabs it to Fabian Cher. Inside to Byrne, over to Hall, 10 yards from halfway, up to Willock, closed down by Elanga. Willock touches it on to Joelinton, could get it back, dragged back by Joelinton, who then comes inside. Hall, Joelinton again, 30 yards out. Longstaff in the centre. Bruno takes a touch. Gibbs White makes him go backwards. Cher on halfway. Now Byrne onto Willock. First time to Byrne. And in there, half Newcastle next to the centre circle. Longstaff makes a forward run from midfield. They find Gordon instead with the pass around the corner towards Isak, but Nottingham Forest have won it back, and Chris Wood, tidy play out on the left, and Alex Moreno plays it up the line. Then they come into the centre to Morgan Gibbs White. Came back last week after missing 2 matches. The England international, player Newcastle been linked to before. I know you like him, Gibbs White.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Anderson, don't you? play just off the striker in the hole. Creative, scores goals. Forest possession, still 0-0 on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Helped on by Wood, Livramento wins it. Tried to beat a couple of players, but tackled by Dominguez in the middle part of the pitch. Now central midfielder Yates is almost at centre-back, receives the ball, passes it to Aina on the near side. The Nigerian international who scored. Did you see his goal?
Yeah.
West Ham curled it into the top corner from the edge of the box. Very well taken. Gibbs White, nice turn in midfield, then went for the Hollywood pass. It's gone for a goal kick. Good skill, but not the ball that Wood through the middle or Elanga out wide was hoping for. It was between them.
Yeah, it was in no man's land, wasn't it?
What do you make of the opening period, Ando?
It's been quiet, hasn't it? Both sides really feeling each other out. Not a great deal's happened.
0-0. Here comes the goal kick from Nick Pope. Joe Linton header forwards. Isak was in the centre. Milenkovic had time then to take a touch and then thump it forwards. Wood tries to knock it down. Longstaff put pressure on Dominguez and Newcastle have it back. Livramento to Pope. And here's Byrne. 5 points from their 5 away games this season in the Premier League before today, but against no club of Newcastle played more Premier League away matches without losing than against Nottingham Forest. This is the 7th such fixture, 3 wins, 3 draws from the other 6. Isak pinching it back in the final third on the near side, linking up with Willock. It's behind Hall, but Bruno's got it. Now for Willock just inside the box. This is dangerous. Joe Willock on the turn. Delivers a lovely ball which drops for Anthony Gordon. And Gordon on the volley over the top.
It wasn't easy, to be fair.
Looked like he was in a tight spot, then spun beautifully. Left-footed cross that the defender Murillo headed up, but took it away from Longstaff, and Gordon hit it, but he lashed at it.
Yeah, it was an important touch by Murillo. He needed to get something on it. They were queuing up behind him. And it's just fallen for Anthony Gordon, but to be fair to him, the angle's all wrong, isn't it? Couldn't get over it.
The turn from Willock, though, was really sharp. Really good. Forest throw on halfway. Aina. Back to Milenkovic. Murillo available inside. Cross it goes to the Brazilian. Up the line, Hudson-Odoi, first chance to attack really. Woods dropped in, 30 yards out, pushes it back to Dominguez. Now they look for Gibbs White onto Yates. And Aina now for Elanga, 20 yards out on the right wing. Aina blocked by Willock. And then Newcastle get a throw. Good work by Joe Willock, who started well this afternoon, but still goalless at the City Ground on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Fabian Schär with the ball at his feet. Dan Burn now brings it into the centre of Newcastle's half. Plays it to the left. Hall on for Joelinton. Bang on halfway. Back to Hall. Livramento drifting forwards up the far touchline. They go inside to Schär, then find Livramento on halfway, finding Gordon with his pass, back to Schär. Joelinton makes a run in from the left wing into the centre forward. Willock's come wide left. Lewis Hall's got it now. Isak drops in near the front of the centre circle and plays it to Willock. Inside to Hall. Good movement from Newcastle. Players interchanging. Bruno makes the forward run from midfield now, but it's short to Isak. Back to Hall. Isak again. That's good for Willock. Looking for support, looking for an option. Has to come back to Hall. Inside for Bruno, 5 yards from the box. Stabbed wide to Joelinton. Back to Bruno. Hall available as well. They miss him out and find Longstaff. 30 yards from goal. Thought about lifting it in behind for Livramento's run. Instead goes back to Cher. He tries to get Livramento away, but it's cut out by Nicolas Dominguez. And he sets Hudson-Odoi on his way up the Forest left. Gordon sticking with him towards the corner. Hudson-Odoi, cross into the middle, headed away by Bruno. Willock crowded out and had 3 on him, and the red shirts of Forest win it back. Aina, edge of the area, right hand side, slips it through for Yates. Pope comes and makes a block, and it's a corner.
Thought he'd overrun that. Thought the boat was too much on it. He did well to get anything on it. The Forest skipper, I mean, good little run. Hopes had to come out and had to get a block on it. Looked like there was too much pace on the ball, but Yates did well, just dug it out.
Had to make sure, didn't he? Nick Pope. Elanga with the corner, right-footed from the near side, header away by Willock. Aina, edge of the area, collects. Now to Elanga again. That'll be a free kick. Joe Willock has taken him down. It was one of those where the ball comes in and it's a really heavy touch, but because he gets there first, Elanga, Willock then gets the play and not the ball. He's never getting the second touch. It's going straight to a Newcastle player, which it did, but he was
it was a poor ball. Down. It was a poor ball to him. He was sold short. Did well to get something on it. He's already committed himself to trying to win it, Joe Willock. Just takes the man out.
Free kick close to the side of the penalty area. Probably, I think it's about level with the 6-yard line. Like a short corner. Nobody on either post for Newcastle. 0-0. Players in the 6-yard box. And the cross from Elanga is headed in. And it's Murillo for Forest who gets to the ball first. And into the corner it goes. The free kick just teased in there, and a very simple header from Murillo across Nick Pope, and it's Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 0.
So simple, wasn't it? Just lifted into an area, not too sure who's picking him up, but he gets a run on whoever it was. Nick Pope's got no chance.
22nd minute at the City ground. The defender Murillo with the header from 6 yards out. Everybody was back pretty much in the 6-yard box or on the 6-yard line. So to pick a player out there required accuracy from Elanga. A little bit of bend on the ball as it came in. And Murillo get across Joelinton, near side of Joelinton.
Nobody was picking him up.
Connected with the header.
Not too sure who's supposed to be picking him up, but whoever it was, he's got a run on.
Newcastle have to come from behind. They kicked off. Gordon, 30 yards out. Livramento with him. Stabs it forwards to Livramento. Longstaff up ahead. Forest close off the space. And Livramento back to Cher on halfway. Nottingham Forest third in the table. They've scored first in 10 of their 11 Premier League matches. The only one they didn't score first in is the game they lost. 1-0 here against Fulham. Joelinton got Elanga all over him. Free kick is eventually given. Near to halfway, Lewis Hall gets Newcastle restarted. Cher inside to Byrne, closed down by Gibbs White, onto Hall, back to Byrne, behind the centre circle, now for Cher in space in the Forest half. Every player in red behind the ball. Cher onto Livramento, wide to Gordon, up the line for Livramento. He slipped and it's gone out, but it gone out off a red shirt. United throw in line with the penalty box. Isak, 2 defenders to beat. Isak trying to wriggle free and squirm his way through, couldn't do so, clipped up the line. Gibbs White, far side of the pitch for Forest. Newcastle regain possession. Gordon looking for Isak, edge of the area. Willock back to Bruno, just outside the box. Bruno's gone for it, And Sells makes a diving save. It'll be a corner. Not a lot of power from Bruno, but it was heading towards the right corner. It was of Sells' goal.
One for the cameras, wasn't it, the save?
Lewis Hall from the near side, expecting an outswinger. There's nobody there short. Dan Burn round the back, looking like he wants it. Hall instead rolls it into the box to Gordon, back to Hall, and into the 6-yard box where it's cleared. Gordon made a little run along the goal line from the centre, then a drag back to Hall that was nice, but Forest cleared. Newcastle got the ball back in play. Cher on the far side, beats his man. Cher into the penalty area, needs to pick somebody out, but tackled. It'll be a throw about 10 yards back from the corner. Forest lead 1-0. Newcastle trying to respond.
Yeah, it's been a good reaction to the goal, actually.
Livramento takes the throw, gets it back again from Gordon. Cher now for Byrne, he's in the centre circle. Furthest outfield player back, Dan Byrne for Lewis Hall, and Joelinton 20 yards out, taking on Aina and Ilanga. Joelinton gets it back onto his right, clips in the cross. Murillo's header away, Byrne back into the middle. Milenkovic takes a big swipe at it and clears into the Newcastle half. Hudson-Odoi got there before Livramento and kept it in. And the home side tidy it up. Now they look for Hudson-Odoi again, but Cher is covering, gets to the ball, plays it to Pope, and Byrne comes forwards. On for Hall. 26 minutes have been played. Newcastle are losing. Murillo's header for Forest. Cher for Byrne. They've had plenty of the ball at the back. And Hall looking for Joelinton. Willock's made a run. He couldn't find him with the pass though. Aina clears. Joelinton and Ilanga challenge for the ball. Yates gets involved. Joelinton using all his strength. Back to Hall, did well. Willock tackled by Aina, no foul for Newcastle, and Hall intercepts Ilanga's ball. Now they might have the chance to get away. They've got numbers forwards in this attack. Hall up to Willock. Now Willock into the penalty area, beats a couple of players. Joe Willock, good run, corner.
Yeah, needed to go earlier, just got crowded out in the end.
So another corner kick. Hall on this near side. Joe Willock's been probably their most threatening, most likely player when it comes to creating something. Started very well. This corner to be taken by Anthony Gordon. Lewis Hall is next to the corner of the box. Willock by the D. Forest have everybody back to defend. So it would need to be a really good ball in from Gordon. An in-swinger headed up and away from inside the 6-yard box. Hall looking for Gordon, but it's Alex Moreno, the left back, on the near side. Turns in the penalty area, clears it up the line. It stayed in. Hall gets there and thought about going forwards to Bruno. Instead comes inside to Livramento, and Cher on for Isak, who's peeled out into space on the right wing. Inside for Longstaff. Gordon at centre forward at the moment, as Isak still has it in the wide position from the return ball from Longstaff. Livramento to Isak, nice spin. Now at the corner of the area, Alexander Isak trying to take on another player, almost lost it. Bruno down, free kick. Got nudged over. Just about 20 yards out on the right, close to the corner of the box. Newcastle free kick, good position. John Anderson, Byrne and Cher making their way into the middle.
Yeah, it's what, a couple of yards outside the penalty area, right level with the corner of it. Big boys have gone forward. Hall standing over it. Gordon's there as well.
So they could go with Hall's left foot or Gordon's right. Let's see. Hall runs over it. Gordon lifts it in. Joe and Linton got underneath it with their head up.
Yeah, it's a decent delivery as well, isn't it? It's played into a good area. Just gets underneath it. Just heads it straight up in the air, straight over the top of the crossbar.
Almost half an hour gone on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds, and Newcastle are losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. What have you made of the overall performance, John Anderson, and the way the game has developed?
We haven't seen that intensity, have we? That pace isn't there.
It's a question Eddie Howe has asked often when it comes to away matches. We heard him talk about it before kick-off, why they can't quite show that when they go away from home.
There hasn't been a real tempo to the game, has there?
No. Also not from Nottingham Forest either.
No.
Byrne approaching halfway, ignored Isak, who was available through the centre. Got into a deeper position, Isak. Fabian Schär now to Byrne. Looking for Isak, who has absolutely lashed it at him. And it's a heavy touch from Isak. And Forest break away. Elanga into the box on the near side. Elanga left-footed shot. Took a big deflection off Lewis Hall, looped up, caught by Nick Pope. Big kick, quick kick from Pope. Looking for Gordon. What a ball this could be, but it's bent in to the box, and Sells makes the claim.
Yeah.
It initially,
good idea, right idea.
Initially had two defenders worried and facing their own goal, but too central from Pope. Dominguez plays it against Willock, but it rebounds for Gibbs White on the left. So Nottingham Forest, who lead 1-0, stay in possession. Newcastle have won it back. Gordon for Willock. Now they've got to get players forwards. Longstaff across midfield to Bruno. Away from two red shirts. Coming out wide left on halfway. Bruno Guimaraes drops his shoulder, comes back into the middle. Oh, it's a good run from Bruno. He's still going, and Elanga's won it back. Then Joe Linton gets a boot to the ball, and then Livramento now for Gordon, just outside the area. Gordon could take it on himself, gives it instead to Longstaff. Longstaff coming back with it. Bruno wide to Livramento, takes a touch, lifts the ball into the middle. Big header away from Forest. There were three black and white shirts there. Hall has it and wins a corner off Elanga.
Yeah, good pressure.
You fancied Gordon to have a go, though.
I thought he was going to hit it. Yeah, it opened up for him.
In the 32nd minute, Gordon with Newcastle's latest corner as they try to draw themselves level. Byrne near the penalty spot starts to make a move. They've got Gibbs White with him. That is a mismatch. Gordon drives it to the back post. Sells came, the defender headed it in front of him. Byrne back in. Isak towards goal. It's blocked. And now a clearance. But Hall, fantastic Lewis Hall, absolutely brilliant, went shoulder to shoulder with Hudson-Odoi, kept Newcastle on the attack. Joe Linton down to Longstaff, back again, Longstaff, now a chance at the back post. Sells makes a save from Dan Byrne, right-footed, straight at the keeper, and then scrambled away and out for a throw.
Good play, good build-up play, good save.
They worked it really nicely. In fact, they have for the last two attacks. All brilliant in the build-up. Longstaff and Joe Linton, good combination in the box. And Byrne, well, it was accurate in terms of being on target, but not a lot of power behind the shot. Then a pass for Joe Linton on the right that he's done really well to keep in. And he's won a throw 10 yards out, quickly taken to Longstaff. Putting pressure on Newcastle as they try and draw with Forest level at 1-1, trailing to the Murillo goal here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Now Joe Willock with Gordon on the outside on the left. They've switched the two wingers at the moment. Willock still got it. Byrne remains in the penalty box. Willock whips it in. Not a good header from Forest. Alex Moreno straight to Joe Linton. His cross takes a touch. Bruno's got it in the box. Still Bruno back to goal on the turn. Bruno back through for Joelinton. First time cross deflected. Sells is struggling but manages to punch it clear. That was dropping under the crossbar, and Sells looked like he was in real trouble but just got it away under pressure from Willock.
Can't get out for us, can they?
Newcastle still in possession, 1-0 down. Longstaff up towards Bird, who stayed up there. And good turn, Alex Moreno, edge of the box. Really good turn. And now they can try to get away, Nottingham Forest. Left-hand side, Hudson-Odoi curls it over to the right wing for Elanga. Wood in the middle, Gibbs-White at the back post. Elanga into the box. Livramento in the right place to clear from Elanga's cross. And now Willock beaten to the ball by Yates in midfield. And Aina for Forest, back to Milenkovic on halfway.
Yeah, a couple of decent passages of play. Keeper got lucky.
Yates with the ball to Elanga in the box, cross blocked by Newcastle. Bruno finds Cher, who's at left back. Now Willock, heavy touch, one back by Yates, Forest throw.
Yeah, it was a poor ball to give him in that area.
They've got somebody to dry the ball, Nottingham Forest, for the throw that Aina is about to take. Looks like it's going to be a long ball lobbed into the box. Ola Aina. Wood near post, Cher at his back. Milenkovic has gone front post as well. Dan Burn with him. Joelinton header away from Aina's ball into the penalty area. He gets it back, finds Dominguez in the middle of the United half. 10 minutes to the break, Newcastle a goal down. Back with Dominguez, and Forest slow everything down, keep possession on halfway. Newcastle keeping their shape. Ball goes wide left to Alex Moreno, who's made that left back place his own after coming in on loan from Villa towards the end of August. And they look for him with a ball in behind. He's nodded it forwards, trying to find Wood in the centre. That's good play, and Newcastle stab it behind for a corner.
Yeah, good little ball over the top, wasn't it? He just got a flick on it with his head. Good defending by Cher, needed to get something on it.
72% of the ball, Newcastle, but Nottingham Forest have scored the only goal. Corner kick, far left-hand side, next to the away section, or where the away section begins, and a line of stewards and some segregation, and Nottingham Forest fans. The Brian Clough stand on the far side. Anthony Elanga, who's delivered one for the goal, sends in the corner, and Gibbs-White got the last touch at the near post goal kick.
Yeah, got too much on it, didn't he? Ball whipped in near post, gets far too much on it, top of his head, high over the top.
Fabian Cher for Newcastle. Dan Burn in the D, slowly making their way up to midfield. 1-0 down. Burn has the ball just behind the centre circle. Wood came to close him down and slipped. Now Lewis Hall. Into Forest half. Isak comes deep, has a couple of touches, has a look around, lays it off to Hall. And now that's a good ball inside. Bit of disguise on the pass, and Willock back to Bruno, wide right for Livramento, 20 yards out, angled ball into the box for Longstaff's run, cleared out for a throw.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst idea in the world, just not enough on the ball. They want to throw in level with the 18-yard box.
Livramento to take it. Gordon comes to get it, brings it down, nice touch. Gordon threatening to take on Hudson-Odoi, goes on the outside, spins, comes back inside, slipped it through for Longstaff, but cleared by Alex Moreno. And Gibbs-White was the furthest player forward, leaves it for Wood. Forest now in the Newcastle half on the attack with Elanga, who turns, so they've lost the momentum, but they've kept possession. Gibbs-White to Aina, and again Morgan Gibbs-White on the ball. Now Yates, foot on it. Back to Milenkovic. And over to goal scorer Murillo. 39 minutes. Gordon for Newcastle who've got it back. Longstaff. On for Gordon again and back to Cher. Willock was free in the centre circle. Cher decided not to play it. Carries the ball forwards. Then has to come back to Byrne. His route suddenly was blocked off. Lewis Hall up the near side for Joelinton, where they've had lots of space and a bit of joy. Newcastle back to Hall, chance to deliver across, which he does, headed away and out by Milenkovic, far side. Livramento's actually kept it in. Longstaff back to Livramento, good return ball. Tino Livramento down, edge of the area, free kick Newcastle. Livramento linking up with Longstaff, good play. And as he took a touch to break into the penalty area, he was sent over by Hudson-Odoi, and they've got a free kick.
Yeah, he just went to sleep, didn't he, Hudson-Odoi? Just let him run off him.
And we got the decision that time, Livramento, when he didn't earlier in the half, edge of the area. Referee Anthony Taylor. No yellow card, was there?
No.
Still chatting to Hudson-Odoi, but it's because he's putting him in position behind the spray that he has applied to the pitch. And what are Newcastle going to do with this? Well, Livramento looks like he's taken a whack there on the hip from the challenge. Has dropped back. Longstaff is closest to Lewis Hall, who's going to take the free kick. He just sticks it in there, it's flat, and it hits a red shirt, hit Alex Moreno, and Hall has kept it in. This time it's a better ball with more power behind it, but Sells comes to catch, clears it up the pitch quickly, and Livramento with a good header, then Cher for Longstaff. Newcastle in possession and on the attack again. But a lot of players have gone back to try and stop the counter-attack, so they lack the numbers here. But it's Gordon, and he's miscued that as he tried to find Willock, and Aina's got away. Ola Aina over halfway, back to Gibbs-White, and now Murillo. 1-0 Forest. Hudson-Odoi, what can he do at this end? Back to Gibbs-White. Wood behind Dan Byrne. Byrne gets the header, clears the penalty area. Yates takes it down, gets the ball back on the floor, exchanges passes with Aina, and they roll it back into their own half. Forest. Eddie Howe, all on his own in the technical area, puts his hands behind his back, watching as Newcastle are defending again. Hudson-Odoi drops it back to the corner of the box. Gibbs-White, looked like a cross rather than a shot, headed away to Isak, who's come out left wing. Isak, and away from Murillo, and now Gordon, back to Gordon, gets the decision, caught by Yates. Good job, because the pass was misplaced.
Yeah, no need to foul him either, Yates.
Newcastle playing again quickly. Bruno to Willock, Joelinton right wing, Gordon still out on this left hand side. Longstaff central midfield through for
good ball.
Joelinton in the final third, only Isak in the box. Now Longstaff gets in there. Joelinton delays the cross. Bruno corner of the area. 2 minutes or so till half time. Livramento chance to deliver, and he does, and Yates with the header away. Hall brings it down next to the D. Willock on the outside wide left. Hall finds him. Willock takes a touch, gets tackled. Hall wins it back for Willock, who throws himself down in the box. Nothing given, and Forest play forwards. 3 defenders back, 2 Forest attackers. Elanga through the middle, looking for Wood. Elanga keeps hold of possession, wants to do it himself. He's got support now from Hudson-Odoi on the left wing. Newcastle losing 1-0, and they've got bodies back now as Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi play a few short passes, and Dominguez to Hudson-Odoi out near the touchline on the far side. If he'd gone with a quick ball, Elanga, Wood could have run onto it, but yeah, I don't know whether that's the sort of ball that plays into Chris Wood's strengths. They've given it away, Nottingham Forest. Isak all alone, 3 defenders, but good skill, and now he's on the move. Isak approaching the penalty area, goes around Murillo, and down Isak, but the referee says Murillo got the ball, despite Isak's appeals.
No chance.
And Forest bring it away, and then Newcastle make a challenge through Livramento, and Bruno has it back on the far right hand side. Then Forest regain possession, and it's a free kick. I think Bruno caught
him
Gibbs
in the
White.
stomach, yeah.
Joe Linton and Gibbs White now pushing and shoving, and another Forest player gives Joe Linton a barge. It's Yates. The referee needs to sort this out, and Joe Linton needs to avoid a yellow card because Dan Burn's already been booked and will be suspended against West Ham. They don't want to lose Joe Linton as well. 1-0 down, and the referee wants a word with Gibbs White and with Joe Linton, and hopefully just a word and no cards. Just take us back to when Isak went into the box, and you say no penalty.
No.
Just describe the challenge.
Well, he just slid in. Murillo just won the ball clean. Isak went over, but never a penalty.
Hopeful from Isak, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To appeal, you would think. I mean, Willock went down as well a few minutes ago, but was there anything in that for you?
Would have been soft, wouldn't it?
Minimum of 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Newcastle 1-0 down, but they've got it on the left wing in the Forest half. Gordon into Isak in the centre. Longstaff to his right, gives it to Longstaff slightly behind him. He plays it on to Joe Linton. Livramento in the box. Now he takes a tumble. It's a goal kick. And no appeals from Livramento, but a promising move that ends with not the best ball.
No, it was a poor ball. Referee's right there as well.
Forest 1, Newcastle 0. Colin White in the BBC Radio Newcastle studio will give us all the details on the other Premier League matches. There's 2 of them also kicking off at 2. Manchester United 2-0 up against Leicester at home, and Ipswich 2-0 up at Spurs. Goal scorers and what it might mean for the table. It will affect Newcastle if it stays like this. Coming from Colin, and a look at the rest of the days and the weekend sport at half time. We're into the additional period. Willock switches the play, but it's too strong for Joe Linton. Gave him no chance. He apologises. Willock and Hall have probably been Newcastle's liveliest players, maybe Livramento as well, but they're trailing to the Murillo goal in the 21st minute. The header from Elanga's free kick close to the box, and Nottingham Forest approaching half time. Their brilliant run continues. There's got to be more to come from Newcastle. There's got to be better. It's not at the level of the last 2 games, the home matches, which were undoubtedly better than what came before. Joe Linton, good strong play on the right side. Still time for another attack, and he's got a free kick. There's a minute to play, and Newcastle not hanging about, not wasting time, quickly taking free kick. Longstaff to Livramento near the touchline. Back into United territory to Fabian Schär. Hall on halfway, up the left wing to Gordon. He's now back on the side that he wants to play on. Hall goes on the outside. Gordon with a dummy comes inside. Willock spins, edge of the area, could give it to Hall again. Back inside to Willock and Hall once more. No room for the cross for either of them. Willock's got it again from Hall. Now Fabian Schär takes a touch, goes for the shot. It's blocked by Dominguez. It was a powerful strike from Schär. Dan Burn under pressure from Wood gets it back to the goalkeeper. It's up to the referee now. We've almost played the 3 minutes. There's the half-time whistle. Nottingham Forest with the advantage at the break. Murillo's header. Newcastle, John Anderson go in at half-time, a goal down.
Yeah, we haven't played with that intensity and that pace that we see at home. It's a little bit too slow. Forest allowing us to have it as well, getting a lot of people behind the ball and just looking to break on us. I think there'll be a few words said in the dressing room at half time.
Hasn't been much in terms of significant chances for Newcastle. Sells with a couple of saves and punches. The Bruno shot in particular. They have got into 1 or 2 good positions where the final ball hasn't been right.
Yeah, but yet again, we haven't worked the goalkeeper enough. You know, we've got ourselves into good areas. We've hit the first defender with a couple of crosses as well. We just need to play with a little bit more intensity.
Is there anything Eddie Howe could do, whether it's substitutions or changing
I wouldn't say. I don't think he'd change anything at half time. I don't think so at half time. You know, I think he'll just say, look, we need to up the tempo. We need to play at a better pace. We're not asking enough questions. We'll give it 10-15 minutes, see how it's going. If things haven't improved, then you would think the changes would come.
Second half live from the City Ground coming up here on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Murillo, the Nottingham Forest defender, headed in Anthony Elanga's free kick from 6 yards after 21 minutes. That is the only goal. It's Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 0.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
We want your happy news, scientifically proven to make everyone feel slightly happier. Peter in Sunderland, what's yours?
I'm well chuffed. My birthday is in about 2 weeks' time, and I figured out over the weekend that I'm not 49. I'm 48, so I've got 2 years before I get to 50.
You thought you were turning 49, but actually you're only turning 48.
That's correct. I had to Google how old I would be if I was born in 1976.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Newcastle United with a bit of work to do then in the second half. They are 1-0 down at Nottingham Forest at half-time. We'll be back with Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson for full commentary of the second half in just under 10 minutes' time. It is one of 3 games in the Premier League kicking off at 2 o'clock, and the other 2 are 2-0. Manchester United 2-0 up on Leicester, Bruno Fernandes, and then a Christensen own goal. So Manchester United 2-0 up on Leicester, and they're not quite reached half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yet, but Spurs would quite like it to be half-time right now, I think, because they are 2-0 down at home to Ipswich. Sami Schmodics after half an hour, Liam Delap in the 43rd minute as well. So Spurs 0, Ipswich 2 at half-time. It is Chelsea against Arsenal at 4:30. In the Championship, the Sheffield derby was won by Sheffield United. Tavon Campbell 5 minutes into the second half, giving United a 1-0 win over Wednesday. That moves them level on points with Sunderland at the top of the table, but Sunderland still top on goal difference. They're just getting towards the very end of Hull City against West Bromwich Albion, because that one kicked off at 1 o'clock. West Brom 2-1 up. That was a half-time score as well. Carlin Hearn-Grant and Josh Madja with West Brom's goals inside the opening 20 minutes. Joao Pedro got one back for Hull just before half-time. So 2-1 at the break and 2-1 in the 92nd minute as well. And the final Championship game of the weekend is Burnley against Swansea, that kicks off at 3 o'clock. In the Women's Super League earlier, Chelsea comfortable 3-0 winners away at Liverpool. Myra Ramirez and Guro Reiten towards the end of the first half. Aggie Beaver-Jones in injury time in the second half. So Liverpool 0, Chelsea 3. The one game that kicked off at 2 o'clock is 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Everton still without a win all season, and they are losing at half-time. Izzy Riley with Crystal Palace's goal in the opening minute. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff between West Ham and Leicester, and then Manchester United take on Aston Villa at the unusual 7 o'clock. 6:45 on a Sunday kickoff time tonight is the final WSL game of the weekend. And in the Women's Championship, all 3 of our teams in action today. Durham have already finished, and it was a 1-1 draw away at Southampton thanks to Molly Lambert's 85th minute equaliser. They were 1-0 down from the 20th minute onwards. That has already finished. The other games here are all 2 o'clock kickoffs. Newcastle United conceding in the final minute of that first half, so they are 1-0 down at Bristol City at half time. Birmingham lead 1-0 away at London City Lionesses. Gemma Lawley in the middle of that first half. Sheffield United 1-0 up at Portsmouth. Maria Farrugia, formerly of Sunderland and Durham, with Sheffield United's goal. And it's Sunderland 1, Blackburn 1 at half time as well at Eppleton. Katie Kitching, the New Zealander, had given Sunderland the lead, at Blackburn equalising in stoppage time at the end of the first half. And actually at Birmingham have now gone 2-0 up at London City Lionesses, and it's another former Sunderland player, Niamh Heron, scoring Birmingham's second in the 6th minute of first half injury time. So they haven't actually reached half time yet quite. And it's London City Lionesses 0, Birmingham City 2. So Sunderland playing in the Women's Championship today, and the men played in the Championship yesterday. They drew 2-2 at home to Coventry at the Stadium of Light. They were 2-0 up at half-time. Terrific goals from Wilson Isidore and Dennis Sirkin, but a disappointing second half saw them drop 2 points and record a third draw in the space of just about a week. But they are, even with Sheffield United's victory today, still top of the Championship, only just, but they are still top. After yesterday's game, their head coach, Régis Lebris, spoke to our Sunderland commentator, Nick Barnes.
Régis, at half-time, I think the feeling was there was only going to be one winner in the game, and it's sort of derailed after that.
It was a good first half, so I want to think like that, first of all. We started well with our strength and our qualities at home. In possession, I think our game was very interesting. We created many opportunities to score with 2 fantastic goals, I think. And probably during the first half, we felt that out of possession, it wasn't so adjusted. And I think the back three was difficult to press, and we struggled a little bit. And during the half-time, we tried to solve these problems, but the second half was totally different because we were not able to keep the ball under pressure. So it was possible for the opponent to exploit their strength, and probably against our weaknesses at the same time. So this second half is I can be disappointed, and I think the players are disappointed too. But at the same time, we want to think about our strength. We know that we can build on this strength, and at the minute we have to solve other problems that it wasn't possible to do it today. So it's a balance game, but probably we could be a little bit disappointed because we needed to win that game.
So that is Régis Lebris there after Sunderland's third draw in a week, now a fortnight before they play Millwall after the international break, but with a few selection difficulties, a couple of suspensions, potentially a couple of injuries as well. In non-league yesterday, Gateshead fell to a 3-0 defeat away at Kevin Phillips' AFC Fylde side in National League, but in National League North, South Shields held on despite a very late red card to beat Kings Lynn Town by 2-1. Paul Blackett in the first half, Kyle Crossley in the second. Hebburn Town beat 9-man Prescott Cables. They were down to 9 men after just 21 minutes, the away side, but they beat them 2-0, Hebburn, in the NPL Premier Division yesterday. Morpeth lost 2-0 at Macclesfield. Danny Elliott, the former Gateshead striker, scoring Macclesfield's first, and Michael Connor's first game in charge of Blythe Spartans was a 2-1 defeat at Warrington Ryland, so they are still bottom of that table. In the East Division, Consett were 2-0 up after 20 minutes, but eventually drew 2-2 at home to Sheffield FC. Dunstan survived a late red card to draw 0-0 at home with Grimsby Borough. Ashington were beaten 1-0 away at Belper Town, but there was a very good victory for Heaton Stannington, a 3-0 win over Ossett United, and manager Dean Nicholson was rather pleased to have avoided 3 defeats in a week and to have 3 different goal scorers.
It is, and obviously we've signed the 2 new lads yesterday, and Robbie's got himself on the score sheet, and we've looked really, really dangerous at times today. We haven't scored 2 games previously, which was a bit of a concern, but like I say, we are creating chances and just not putting them away, unfortunately. And I know it's a lot of people say that, and you hear it a lot, but it has been the case over the last few weeks. So it was good, like I say, to get the goals on the board. And again, they probably couldn't have complained. I think if it was probably 4 or 5 today, but we'll take the 3-0 win and move on from it.
And I mean, does the league table matter to you at this point? Because everything is so tight, and every league is like this, but you look at the East Division and it's like that as well. A couple of defeats and you plummet, a couple of wins and you zoom back up again. Is it almost not reflective even now, even though you've played 17 games?
Yeah, it's a tough one to try and work out. We played Sheffield 7 to 10 days ago, and they're right down there. And I'll be honest with you, probably one of the best teams I've seen. So it is a strange league. There's not much in it at all from Team 1 to Team 22. You've just got to be on your mettle every single time you play. And the league table, realistically, at the moment, doesn't really mean a great deal. All we want to do is to ensure we get as many points as we possibly can. We're in that middle bunch at the moment. And we just want to, like I say, try and get up that league. If we can get away from that relegation zone, that's where we want to be. And we need to ensure that we obviously continue the form from today.
So that is Dean Nicholson there, the Heaton Stannington manager. 4 teams we had in the FA Vase yesterday, unfortunately, and that was the second round, only one of them has made it through to the third round. So Blythe Town beaten 2-0 away at Carlisle City, Brighton and Crockrook Albion losing 2-0 at home to West Didsbury and Charlton, Wickham losing 1-0 at home to Redcar Athletic. So North Shields, the only good news story, they beat Charnock Richard by 3-1 yesterday to be in the hat for the third round draw tomorrow. Their manager Brian Smith spoke to our non-league reporter Paul Dixon afterwards.
Brian, superb performance in the second half.
Class with it. Really good second half. Really impressed with the lads. It was just how it should be and how we've known it to be here for years. Dicker. Second half was just we blew them away a bit. It was good.
So the form of your team over the last few weeks has been very, very good, and I know you love the FA Vase. You've been to Wembley, they've won it, and it's exciting times at the minute at North Shields. Good crowd here today, thoroughly enjoyed. Clapped you off the park there, winning 3-1.
Just changed a lot. It took a bit of time because it took ages in August. It's just a bad month and inconsistent in the team that we've got, but we've settled down now. I think it's since Shildon. There's about 15 or 16 games now. I think we've only been beat 2 or 3 times.
Spoke to your chairman before the game and he's absolutely thrilled the way things are taking off here at North Shields. He's doing a great job, isn't he?
He's brilliant. He's here every single day, grafting away, morning till night, and he's got a few good people with him helping him out, but they've changed it around a lot because it was in a really bad place in January.
Now, we had a few problems with the turnstiles, but, the chairman's told me that that's been sorted out. I mean, you just want the people here to get right behind North Shields, don't you?
They are. They just got to we just need to get everybody together. It's slowly, you can see it there in the clubhouse now, how busy it is, but we just need everybody to rally around it. The Vase helps, doesn't it? It just helps a lot.
It certainly does. And, I mean, the draw's on Monday, and Collins just told us that North Shields in our area are the only team left, so we want you to progress as far as you possibly can. You've travelled away when you went to Wakefield twice when it was waterlogged, and you've had a great crowd and a great win today. Are you bothered if you're home or away?
Yeah, home. That'll do. Some of the lads might want a little trip away, but hopefully we'll leave that for a little bit later in the year with any luck. But home. We just want them to be home.
And really, you want to just go as far as you possibly can in the Vase. You've got great history with the Vase, Bri, and you know as well, you'll get them excited, won't you?
It brings everyone together, and the crowd's gone through the roof, as we know. That's what this club needs now, is we need to get through a few rounds in the Vase.
Yes, if only it were as simple as that. But very best of luck to North Shields of the rest of the FA Vase, and like I say, they'll find out their third round opponents in the draw tomorrow. Right now, Newcastle Falcons have just begun their Premiership Rugby Cup match against Doncaster. There's commentary on the BBC Sport website and app of that one with Dean Gray. In the basketball today, Newcastle Eagles men are away at London Lions. They'll tip off in an hour's time in the Super League. And in North Division 1's ice hockey, Whitley Warriors away at Widnes Wild this afternoon, or this evening, because it will be a 5:30 face-off for them. But we are heading back to the City Ground now for the second half of the Premier League game between Nottingham Forest and Newcastle United. Forest 1-0 up at the break. We will be back with Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson in just a tick.
Half-time highlights.
Total Sport Northeast.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Players in the 6-yard box. From Elanga is headed in, and it's Murillo for Forest who gets to the ball first, and into the corner it goes. The free kick just teased in there, and a very simple header from Murillo across Nick Pope, and it's Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 0.
Total Sport Northeast.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
The only goal at the City Ground. Newcastle losing after 45 minutes. A lot of a half-time discussion, Ando, and looking at some of the footage from the first half, has been about some of the challenges from Ryan Yates in midfield, including one where he caught Sean Longstaff quite high. And of course it was Yates who made the challenge on Livramento. Nothing was given. Play continued. Dan Burn then got a yellow card a few seconds later, which means he'll miss the next match. And also not the challenge on Isak for a possible penalty, but on Joe Willock.
Yeah.
People feel like they did have a bigger claim than it seemed at the time. None of this will necessarily matter too much if they come back to win, but there is some frustration.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a great deal of claims for a penalty. Was it on the Willock one? Nobody seemed to go to the referee or appeal for a penalty, but it looked like there was contact. To be fair, it was minimal, but you've seen them given.
Newcastle have kicked off the second half. It's a Forest throw on the near side. United shooting towards the right, towards the away end. No changes. Pope, Livramento, Share, Byrne, Hall, Bruno in the middle, Longstaff right, Willock left of him, and they've switched the two wingers, so Gordon is left wing, Joelinton now right wing, which breaks up that Joelinton-Willock partnership that has worked well and has been good today. Isak at centre forward. Livramento finds Joelinton. I'm sure he can do good work up the right side. Just like that, the pass for Isak gets away from his man. Isak, lovely shift. Then a ball play to Willock. Couldn't hold it edge of the area. Joelinton through towards Gordon, but cleared. Referee didn't touch the ball, but possibly got in the way. That was really nice from Isak. That's what we like to see. The way he glides across the turf.
Yeah, good feet.
Newcastle's bench: Dubravka, Tonali, Barnes, Targett, Osula, Murphy, Almiron, Kelly, Miley. Very early in the second half, but promising attack. They try to come back into the game. 1-0 down. Longstaff to Joelinton. Another Newcastle attack underway. Isak in the box. Joelinton sends in a cross that sells. Let's run. It's actually stayed in, would you believe, on the far side, on the goal line. Gordon back to Hall. Stabbed backwards again towards Big Dan Byrne. On the move up the pitch, Byrne. And Willock plays it wide left to Gordon. Byrne is still up there as an extra forward player. Fabian Schär hanging back. He gets the ball now. Rolls it onto Livramento. Wide right to Joelinton. Inside for Bruno. Closed down. Livramento again. Turns it round the corner, but Longstaff didn't run. And Murillo clips it out for a throw. Eddie Howe grabs the ball, gives it to Joelinton. Newcastle playing quickly. Take a look at the Forest 11 when we get an appropriate moment, because Newcastle are still attacking, and it's Gordon on the far touchline. Back to Joe Willock. And back to Dan Byrne next to the centre circle. On for Willock, drops his shoulder, spins away from Yates. Lovely layoff from Isak to Willock, and he almost made his way into the box. Then the Forest clearance stopped by Isak, who's still got it in the penalty area and taking it out wide left. He's done so well there, Isak, under pressure. Gordon for Longstaff, close to the corner of the area. He's turned well, Longstaff, tried to beat his man, lost it. Bruno with a challenge. Joelinton putting pressure on Alex Moreno, and Murillo clears up to Hudson-Odoi on halfway. And this is Forest's opportunity to attack. Morgan Gibbs White just outside the area, chops back inside as he was on his way out to the right wing. Then a through ball from Nicolas Dominguez, picked up, not picked up actually, collected by Pope with his foot, rolled out, and Longstaff, a lot of space for Sean Longstaff on the right side, into the middle to Bruno, across the centre circle for Hall. Newcastle, strong start to the second half. Can they make it count with something? Here's Anthony Gordon. Willock flicks it back to Hall. Longstaff in the D, through towards Isak.
Unlucky. It was a great little flick. Great vision as well from Longstaff to see it. He's just helped it round the corner, just got a little bit too much on it.
I don't think Isak expected it.
No.
It's on his heels. Well played, Longstaff. I think he was onside. Defender in the middle, Milenkovic kept him on. At least one defender kept him onside. And Isak gave Longstaff the thumbs up. It was really smart from the midfielder. Scored the winning penalty here in the cup tie. It's on it again, Sean Longstaff, centre of the park. Hall for Gordon. Back towards Hall. Fires over the cross. Sells has cleared it. Flicked it away, and Joelinton diving in at the back post. Just missed out. Livramento for Bruno. Close to the penalty area. Bruno gets it back from Joelinton. Goes for the bending shot. Joelinton. That would have been an unbelievable goal. Rolled it to Joelinton, corner of the area. First time return. Outside of the right boot. just over the top. What a try from Bruno.
What an effort. I mean, it's a great little 1-2, and then no backlift with the outside of his right boot. A lot of bend on it. Just that fraction too high. Good start in the second half.
Scored a great goal at the other end last season on the volley. That would have been even better. Unbelievable technique from Bruno. Fantastic football, so close. Offside against Nottingham Forest. Fabian Schär plays the free kick to Hall. Gordon onto Willock, and Newcastle can go at speed. Willock, edge of the area. Joelinton to the right. Willock took the shot on, and it's blocked. Longstaff with a header. Referee close to the ball again. That's the third time in the second half he's been in the way. Forest player down in the meantime, so the match has been stopped. And Newcastle will have a throw on the near side. They're going to have to make a change. It's Nicholas
Dominguez, isn't it?
The central midfielder. Elliot Anderson's coming on. Former Newcastle player. It's the third time they've had him on the bench this season as a substitute from the start. Anderson has been selected to start the other games. But a really strong start, John Anderson, to the second half by Newcastle.
Yeah, bright start. More tempo to it. More pace to the game. Pinning Forest back.
Dominguez going to have to go off far side of the pitch. It's going to be a double Nottingham Forest change actually. Jota Silva scored in the cup tie, took it to penalties. He's coming on as well. Portuguese winger. Newcastle still losing 1-0. They've taken the throw, and Joelinton 35 yards out to Longstaff, through for Livramento. First time cross, straight back out to Livramento from the clearance from Murillo. Joelinton whips it in. Milenkovic, the big man, with a header. Hall for Gordon, back to Hall. Forest sort of penned in as Bruno shifts it, thinks about another shot, instead lays off to Longstaff. Willock and Isak, edge of the area, and the quick clearance from Forest, and they're away. There's an opportunity for them to run into the penalty area. Elanga in the middle, and then Pope with a save at the near side from the effort, which was from Dominguez, who'd just come back on.
Chance, wasn't it? Got caught.
Well, I was so surprised that it was him, didn't realise he'd come back on, and neither did Newcastle. They used that rule about going off and then coming on to their advantage because he was free. Got into the box, shot saved. Now Gordon at the other end, corner. Gordon getting a big reaction from the Newcastle fans as he puts the ball down to take the corner. Forest wait to make their double change. 54th minute on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds to find a way back into the game. Here's Gordon's delivery, looped into the 6-yard box. It's hit off the post and in. They have made something count, and Alexander Isak has scored again. It's 4 in 4 for Isak. Couple of players threw themselves at the ball in the box, and it just dropped 6 yards out for Isak, who smacked it against the inside of the post, and then it rolled into the net. Just what they needed, and a reward for a great start to the second half. A goal, an equaliser that has been coming. It's Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 1.
Well, they just didn't deal with the corner, Nottingham Forest, and it just bounced down, and his reactions are brilliant. Snapshot in off the left-hand post. Ball just drops down, they don't clear the lines, he reacts first, in off the post. 1-1.
Isak, who scored twice here 2 seasons ago, gets the equaliser. Right foot off the base of the post and in. Nobody on the post. Maybe Forest could have prevented that if they'd had a player in that position, but Isak was there with the quick reaction to score for Newcastle and make it 1-1. There is a discussion in the centre circle. Now, we're not being told of any VAR check, but the match hasn't resumed. Now, what's happening here? Forest are waiting to kick off, but the referee is waiting. VAR is having a look at a possible handball. No, it's a goal. The goal stands.
That's unbelievable, honestly.
Anthony Taylor confirms goal. Tim Robinson's the VAR. Don't blame the referee for that one. He just has to announce the decision. So it is 1-1 at the City ground, and let's see where they can take it from here, John Anderson, after a strong start after coming back out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good start to the second half. A lot livelier, a lot more pace to their game.
Forest forward ball up the near side. Pope leaves the penalty area to take a touch and then hammer it forward, straight out of play, straight at Jason Tindall.
They still haven't made a substitution, Forest.
Well, Nicholas Dominguez looked like he wasn't going to be able to continue.
Two players are still stood there.
He now appears to be fine. Elliot Anderson and Jota Silva wait. Hall and Elanga battle for the ball. Elanga comes up with it, taking on Hall, cuts inside. Fabian Schär intercepts, steps forwards, and now the ball in behind from Schär. Isak on the chase with Murillo. The Forest defender gets there, then slips, and Isak's onto it in the corner. Willock in the box. Murillo with a good recovery challenge, but then Isak wins it back again. Does he get a free kick? Isak has gone down. Referee says play on. Newcastle with Longstaff. 30 yards from goal, left of centre. Bruno at the back of the box. Bruno towards Willock, cut out, and Forest can break now. It's exciting stuff, but Newcastle have got to watch here. It's an overhit through ball. Lewis Hall is onto it, tries to clear it up the line, but straight back to Gibbs White. Wood edge of the area. Elanga in the wide position, and it's Elanga who gets it, passes it to Yates, and now Dominguez back to Yates, 30 yards from the Newcastle goal, centre of the half, 1-1. 58 minutes have been played. Murillo with a clip ball into the area. Byrne with a header clear. Willock lets it bounce and lets it run. Gordon on the move. Willock's ball intercepted by Aina. Defender was always favourite to get that one. He's trying to set Gordon away. And possession for the home side, close to halfway. Milenkovic goes long in behind Hall. He's got to be careful. Elanga hasn't given it up. Hall happy that it's going to go behind, but there's an offside anyway. Now the Nottingham Forest changes. Newcastle have got themselves level through Isak's goal. Morgan Gibbs White is coming off. It was about this point in the game against West Ham that Nuno made the change, bringing on Elliot Anderson for Gibbs White, and that's what he's doing now. And Jota Silva is replacing Callum Hudson-Odoi on the near side.
Yeah, it's like for like, isn't it? They've waited quite a while to make the changes.
One apiece. City ground. The only time Newcastle have lost to Forest in the Premier League was on Boxing Day. It's quite an incredible record, really, from the 90s and the last couple of seasons, including this one. Harvey Barnes, Miguel Almiron, Sandro Tonali, Jacob Murphy warming up. The Forest team now then: Sells, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo, Alex Moreno. They've got Yates and Dominguez in the middle, Elanga, Anderson, Jota Silva and Wood up front. Newcastle think they should have a throw near side of the pitch, close to the halfway line. Forest have been given the decision. Lots of arguments and complaints going on. The referee speaking to Joe Linton, but it's Forest throw. Half an hour remaining. Alex Moreno stopped by Joe Linton, definitely Forest's ball this time. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall patrolling the technical area. Wood comes into a deep position, passes it back to halfway to Milenkovic. Aina up the line. They've moved Elanga to the left side. This is Yates with a deep cross from the right. It's taken a touch off Bruno, and it'll be a corner for Forest. And the substitute, Jota Silva, is on the right. However, Elanga's gone back over to the right to deliver the corner. Swedish international. Scored in this match last season. Now he's looking to create a goal from the corner. Chris Wood round the back, moves into the middle. Nick Pope makes a save.
Comfortable
header in towards the near post, and a quick throw out to Willock, left wing up the line and out of play. Gordon was free and Isak was...
Yeah, looked to do it quickly, didn't they? Just got it wrong, Joe Willock.
Isak was making good progress, unchecked through the centre. Byrne, strong play with Wood, no foul, and then Dan Byrne rides a challenge inside for Bruno. Got to be careful, there's two on him. He's lost it. Longstaff recovers possession, and now Bruno can get away. Isak just inside. Joe Linton right wing. Still Bruno holding off Yates, and finally Ryan Yates is penalised for a foul.
How many fouls is he going to give away?
No caution. The Forest captain gets away with it in that regard, but Bruno wins a free kick. I think they just wanted him to release the ball sooner, didn't they? Joe Linton inside to Longstaff, dispossessed. Wood, bit of space, left of centre, tries to drive it through the middle straight to Dan Byrne. Longstaff back to Share from halfway, 1-1. Isak scoring the equaliser in the second half. Share over to Byrne, and Hall back to Byrne. Forest standing off. Fabian Share back across to big Dan Byrne. This is Share's 199th Newcastle game. Joe Linton's just one behind him on 198, so double century coming up for those two. Joe Linton now for Longstaff to the right of the centre circle. Byrne for Willock. BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Willock left of the centre circle. Total Sport back tomorrow every weekday evening from 6 until 8 on BBC Radio Newcastle. You can catch up any time on the BBC Sounds app. Anthony Gordon has tried to beat his man, but the challenge from Jota Silva saw it rebound off him and go for a throw, and Forest ball in their half of the pitch. Long throw into the Newcastle half. Wood tries to flick it on. Hall and then Bruno away. Hall then with a good header for Bruno. Bit of space now, approaching the centre of midfield. Share sends it through the middle, but Sells lets that bounce up into his hands. Came off the outside of his right boot, Fabian Share, so it was always swinging away from its intended target, which was left of centre. Byrne with a powerful header forwards. Willock on towards Isak. Alex Moreno straight to Bruno, and now Joe Linton, and it might open up for Newcastle. Into the box, Joe Linton for Isak, hangs up the cross. Gordon's header saved by the near post.
Got no power in it. Couldn't get any power on it. Simple save in the end.
Had to take a couple of steps back, Gordon, and really stretch and strain his neck muscles to direct the ball back towards Sells and the Forest goal. It was down towards the near post, and it was a comfortable save for the Forest keeper. Elliot Anderson away from Fabian Share, but then loses out to Joe Linton, and Isak in the middle. Gordon to the left. Isak pulled down surely by Yates, and now eventually he gets a yellow card. 65 minutes in.
He's done.
I don't know if Isak saw the run of Gordon, but Gordon, even after the whistle went, really frustrated that he wasn't played in because he was away. And after Anderson going back to that bit of play, Ando out-muscled Fabian Schär. He wasn't getting past Joe Linton.
Just wanted too much time on the ball.
Sandro Tonali's getting some instructions from Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall. And the numbers board is being prepared. Only a third yellow card of the season for Ryan Yates.
Don't know how.
That's how he plays.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And some generous refereeing. He could have been off much earlier. 25 to go, 1-1. The free kick's a long way out. It's more than 10 yards from the edge of the penalty area. Lewis Hall and Fabian Schär are next to it. Gordon jogs out to the left wing. Bruno, Longstaff, hands on hips either side of the D. Don't know what they're going to do from this. Could Schär try? Could go for goal? Hall passes it to Gordon, completely free, far side. He delivers the cross, sells punches. Longstaff tries to win it. Forest come away with the ball, and it's Jota Silva. Bruno following him all the way, but he's into the final third. Dan Burn makes the challenge, but it's a foul. Burn puts his hands on his head, can't believe the decision. Forest defending a free kick at one end. Now
they want a card as well.
They want a card for Dan Burn. He's not going to be shown a second yellow. He walks away. Well, he can't be booking Burn for both challenges and letting Yates get away with several before he finally remembers where his yellow card is. But it is a foul from Burn.
Yeah, he just checks back, doesn't he? I don't think there's any doubt it's a foul.
Harvey Barnes comes back to the bench. Lewis Miley goes to warm up. Sandro Tonali is going to come on. Lloyd Kelly also warming up. May just be in case Burn edges closer to a second yellow. Well, it was a free kick that led to Nottingham Forest's goal from a completely different position. But Newcastle have to defend better from a set piece than they did midway through the first half. Here, midway through the second half, as Alanga curls it in. Burn header. Willock nods it back straight to a red shirt, though. Jota Silva cuts inside. Gordon dispossesses him. Gordon then drops his shoulder and gets away. Anthony Gordon into the Forest half. Support from two. It's Isak who he plays in, and he leaves it for Willock. Isak in the middle as Joe Willock takes over. Crosses it to Isak. Oh no! Oh. Isak's dragged it wide when he should have scored. He left it for Willock, who picked him out and side on. Tried to wrap his right boot around it from 6 yards. It's a glorious chance, and it should have hit the net, but he's instead smacked it against the advertising boards behind the goal.
Oh, you'd put your house on him, wouldn't you? The ball's just hung up. Willock just hangs it up. He's waiting for it to drop. Oh, it's not far away. Shinned it, didn't he?
And they've just made the change. Joe Willock, that cross for Isak was his last involvement in the match. He's been replaced by Sandro Tonali. Looks like Tonali might have gone into the centre with Longstaff to the right and Bruno to the left. Foul by Bruno. Clear foul on Yates, who now has a problem and is sitting down. Might need some treatment. Will they get a better chance than that? Oh,
unbelievable chance. Great break.
Gordon
pace.
was fantastic, wasn't he, with that run? They couldn't keep up with him. The ball that he played, I think you could describe it as overhit, because Isak couldn't run onto it, but they had Willock coming in on the outside, so Isak left it, got into a great position, and you would back Isak every time to dispatch that, to stick it away. It was off target. Forest free kick, Schär header. Ball clears the box. It's Anderson back to Dominguez. And now Murillo on the left wing, forced backwards by pressure from Joelinton. Alex Moreno across halfway to midfielder Nicolas Dominguez. Ola Aina steps onto it, gives it straight to Lewis Hall. Forest say it was handball, nothing given. And a forward pass for Hall, who's carried on his run. Furthest man forwards, Lewis Hall. Aina's defended well, got back and played it to his goalkeeper, and Sells with a big clearance. Burns header, Forest throw, out of play on the far side.
Yeah, they haven't taken to this referee, have they?
Definitely bounced up at hip Hall, but from our position it was on the far side, we can't be certain. 20 minutes of normal time remaining. BBC Radio Newcastle, NUFC TV, we're on BBC Sounds as well. And Aina picks the ball, spare ball up off a disc, off the pitch. We're playing again, it's Yates. Tonali at his shoulder, ball inside to Dominguez, and now Anderson on the right side of midfield. Back down the line to Aina, and Anderson comes to get it again from him. Elanga, nice first touch, and a bit of space, chance to deliver the cross. Pope makes a comfortable catch as Wood and Byrne challenge in the middle, and Wood hits the deck. Nothing in that for the referee. Lewis Hall was given the ball that he didn't really want. He's come inside, played it up to Bruno, on for Tonali. Chance for Newcastle to break. Tonali to Isak, Gordon to the left, Joelinton free on the near side. Isak finds Joelinton, now into the penalty area. Joelinton onto his left.
Oh, what a goal!
Joelinton has bent one into the far corner. Fed by Isak, he took it on into the box, cut inside, and Joelinton left-footed has beaten Matt Sells. And brilliant scenes as the players celebrate in front of the away supporters. Newcastle, from a goal down at half-time, have turned it around. Joelinton in the 72nd minute. It's Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 2.
What a break it is again, though. He just picks it up, they back off, and he just cuts inside, opens himself up, left foot strike. Great goal.
Joelinton off his left foot and into the far corner. Sells stretching out his arm, couldn't get anything on the ball, and as he approached the box he could have rolled in Livramento, just a little nudge
goal
inside to deceive the defender. Concerned, both of them, Murillo and Alex Moreno, about the run of Livramento. And Joelinton, not only is it a shot that's heading for the corner, there's a bit of dip on it as well as it curls away from the goalkeeper. Really, really nicely put away by the big Brazilian, and Newcastle lead by 2-1. And their second half performance has been excellent from the first whistle. Isak should have made it 2-1 a few minutes ago. He set up Joelinton to do just that, and now they have to make sure they at least protect this lead if they can't extend it. Forest have just made a change, and they put Ramon Sosa on for Nicolas Dominguez. Ramon Sosa, a Paraguayan international forward. Oh, here is Sosa just on into the penalty area, blocked shot. Bruno for Newcastle, up to Isak, dispossessed by Murillo, and Forest trying to respond quickly. I think Elliot Anderson's gone to a deeper central midfield position alongside Yates, following that change to put another attacker on. Here's a cross from the right, good header. Livramento under pressure, Gordon hooks it away. Isak beaten in the air by Milenkovic near the centre circle. Newcastle 2-1 up, quarter of an hour to go. Ramon Sosa back to Elliot Anderson, takes a touch 5 yards outside the box, clips it in straight to Pope, and that's exactly what the Newcastle keeper was hoping for.
Yeah, it was really not too sure what he was trying to do, Anderson.
walks to the edge of the technical area, fires some words in the direction of his midfielders. Forest have just won the ball back. Livramento's seen it out for a throw. Eddie Howe speaking to Sean Longstaff now, who gives him a thumbs up. As Kelly, Barnes, Murphy, Sula and Almiron warm up. Tonali, the only player they brought on, forwards towards Isak. Murillo wins it. Tonali then intercepts. Tidy play back to Livramento. Not a lot of space, but up the line and out of a red shirt. Newcastle ball. Nottingham Forest. Only one Premier League defeat in their first 10. Third in the table. Newcastle have turned it around to lead 2-1. Livramento looking for Joelinton. Elliot Anderson wins it back, rides a couple of challenges, keeps it in on the line. Looking determined, Anderson motivated against his former club. Over to the far side, Ola Aina goes for the cross. Pope off his line, grabs it with one hand and then gathers properly at the second attempt. There's a long right arm and a long reach from Nick Pope to claw it down and then grab it as he was falling. Good handling.
It was right. Good hands, wasn't it? He needed all of that big frame, didn't he? Chris Wood was right beside him if there was going to be any mistake, but no mistake from Pope. Up the line there from Hall. Bruno left wing wins Newcastle a throw. We're going to see Harvey Barnes next, and it looks like it's just Barnes at the moment. Spurs have pulled one back against Ipswich. Tottenham 1, Ipswich 2. Rodrigo Bentancur for Spurs, and Manchester United still 2-0 up, aren't they, against Leicester at home. Bruno onto a ball from, well, 35 to 40 yards out. It just dropped in midfield. Forrest backed off, then went to close him down, and it just toe poked it.
Yeah, I think he was trying to shoot, but he just put his boot through the ball and it went behind a long way wide. It's a strange action. Goal kick. Bladen races being belted out by a few thousand away supporters. All the goals have been at that end today. Harvey Barnes is ready to come on. Murillo in the first half, Isak in off the post, and then Joelinton bent into the far corner. And because of the position of the goal relative to the away section, they must have thought Isak had scored when he put it wide, when he lashed the ball just past the post at 1-1. Here's a Forest cross from the right, headed over across the 6-yard box by Elanga, and two players in the middle, Chris Wood and Alex Moreno, couldn't get there. Longstaff for United, for Joelinton. The space opening up because Forest have to chase an equaliser. Joelinton switches the play, but Aina wins a header. It wouldn't come for Gordon, and Aina links up with Jota Silva and then tries to give him a return pass from central midfield, and Newcastle with a throw, but Anthony Gordon's gone down as Harvey Barnes prepares to come on. Gordon might need treatment. I don't know if he is the player coming off anyway. They've sent the physio running on.
Tell you what, this is a chance.
Going back to the Forest cross, Elanga's header across goal.
Yeah.
Alex Moreno in the middle.
The header's a chance. If he gets something on that header, what is he, 8 yards out?
Anthony Gordon looks like it's an issue with his left hip. He is the player coming off, with Harvey Barnes being introduced in the 79th minute, or 80th minute now. But Gordon's still on the floor. He can't possibly go off. They haven't moved him. It's his left hip. They are moving his leg and checking the range of motion. He's pulled up to his feet, Anthony Gordon. He's had a bigger influence in the second half, particularly on the break. They could have had him in a couple of times one-on-one, or even there with Joelinton's ball that was...
I know he can play on that right side, and he stuck that cross in last week, but he just looks so much more comfortable on that left side, didn't he?
Barnes wants to play on the left, and he will do. Gordon has gone off. Barnes is on. Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 2. Bruno for Longstaff, middle of the park. Over to Livramento, drags it across his body, starts to move. He's on the run, Livramento, and he's got the legs to get away up the pitch, and that's a foul by Ramon Sosa, who's barged him over close to the assistant referee. All day long, free kick, right hand side, 30 yards out. It's been a great turnaround, John Anderson. 2-1 up now, 10 minutes to go.
Second half performance has been so much better because they've upped the tempo, they've upped the pace. Forest haven't been able to live with it.
Opportunity to go and increase their lead. Tonali's free kick on this near side, curled in, away by the first Forest defender. There's been a bit of that today. It's frustrating, but they've still got it. Livramento to Bruno, holding off his man, then floats across in towards Isak, headed on. Byrne went for it and hit the deck. And it's supporters rather than players who are appealing. And Forest away, straight to Longstaff in the middle of midfield. Byrne, that got away from him. Had he not been on a yellow card, he might have slid in there to slide tackle Elliot Anderson, but he let it run, knowing he's got to be really careful. Anderson for Forest, up to the left wing. Joelinton in the way. Puts it out for a throw. Anthony Gordon's made his way around the pitch behind the goal towards the tunnel, and he's going straight along the tunnel towards the dressing room. We'll speak to Eddie Howe at full time and find out more about that knock that he's taken. Get our post-match interviews on X at BBC Newcastle or on BBC Sounds. Aina just keeps that one in on the line, far side of the pitch. In the final third, Forest, chance to cross. It's blocked by Barnes, gets it from Hall. Barnes again. Now Hall to Barnes, little flick round the corner for Bruno Guimaraes. Up Brilliant. To Sandro Tonali, 3-on-3. Newcastle left-hand side in the Forest half. Tonali edge of the area, into Barnes. Isak in the middle. Harvey Barnes goes for goal and scores! Harvey Barnes cut inside and drilled a shot past Matt Sells at the near post to extend Newcastle's advantage. And it looks very much like 3 points are coming from Trent's side back to Tyneside. Barnes involved in the break, linking up with Tonali. 83 minutes, Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 3.
Well, he's just given the keeper the eyes, hasn't he? Not a great deal of power in the shot. I mean, Sells shouldn't be beaten at that near post like that, but yet again it's another great break. Forest just didn't have the legs to go with them.
Unfamiliar territory for high-flying Nottingham Forest, but Newcastle United, what a second half. 1-0 down at the break. Isak, Joelinton and now Barnes with goals to give them a 3-1 lead, and Tonali carried it, played in. Barnes took a touch, then a couple of others, and it looked like he was about to roll it back to Tonali, but he just managed to squeeze it through the legs of Milenkovic and past the right boot of Sells. Not a lot of space to work in, but accuracy from Barnes, and 3-1 now the score. Instant impact from the substitutes.
Yeah, I don't think the keeper's going to be too happy when he sees that, beaten at his near post like that.
Well, Nottingham Forest haven't given it up. Dan Byrne with a clearance that almost ended up in the river. There's a gap between the two stands, and it just about, I think, went through it. Forest have taken a throw, got it back in play with Murillo, clipped over to the far side. Double Nottingham Forest change is coming. Dangerous ball in from the right hand side. Byrne with an acrobatic hooked clearance.
It's a great clearance, brilliant defender.
Unbelievable from Byrne. Flying clearance away. They're going to bring on James Ward-Prowse and Taiwo Awoniyi, midfielder and a striker. Now Elanga in the box, caught by Pope at the near post. Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall once again ignoring that rule that they can't stand next to each other, having a conversation. Fourth official tells them to get back, so they step back together. the conversation closer to the bench. Pope kicks from his hands, edge of the box. 3-1, Newcastle now lead. Barnes, bouncing ball, beats him. Milenkovic into midfield, Longstaff onto Isak, chested down to Tonali, whose performance has been impactful since coming on. As has this man, Barnes, back to Hall, stabbed forwards but straight to Yates. Milenkovic here to the goalkeeper, Bruno closing down, sells away first time. Newcastle might make some changes if they get the opportunity. Wood straight to Tonali, Fabian Schär fancies a run, gives it to Isak, carries on that run, Fabian Schär into the area, stopped by Murillo. Could have been a Fabian Schär special. Give and go, but Murillo, important challenge. Now 4 minutes of normal time to play on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. Elliot Anderson across central midfield to Ryan Yates. Now Alex Moreno, the fullback, who narrowly missed a cross in the box, could have got Forest level before Newcastle got their third. Delivers from the left side, cleared by United. Murillo driven back in, headed on, Schär away. It's come to Anderson, 25 yards out. No route forwards, back to Aina. 3-1 now for Newcastle. Barnes with the third goal. Aina scored from this distance last weekend, doesn't shoot, gives it to Yates. Now Milenkovic, it's opened up, he's going to hit it straight against Tonali. Barnes with a header, Bruno down to Tonali, that's a foul. And Newcastle free kick, edge of the area. Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 3. Coming up at 4 on BBC Radio Newcastle, Simon Logan will be here with his brilliant 80s versus 90s show. A later start for Simon because of the football, but don't worry, he'll be here at 4, and you can catch Simon's full 4-hour programme later tonight. Songs from the 80s and the 90s exclusively on the BBC Sounds app. Nottingham Forest double change, Alex Moreno off, Anthony Elanga off, James Ward-Prowse and Taiwo Awoniyi on. 3-0 now to Manchester United against Leicester. Here, and Ipswich winning still at Spurs, 2-1 in Ipswich's favour. 4:30 Chelsea versus Arsenal. Tonali with a challenge, wins a throw, it's out on halfway, and the last touch came off Ramon Sosa, Paraguayan. Newcastle's Paraguayan has spent pretty much the entire second half warming up, and he hasn't been called back to the bench. There's a few of them out there. Eddie Howe has only used Tonali and Barnes so far. Livramento with the throw to Isak, back to Livramento, gets away, Longstaff, great knock over towards Barnes. Lets it come up onto his chest, inside for Bruno. Under some pressure here, Bruno, still got it, still going. Free kick. 3 minutes to go, looking good for 3 points, Newcastle, with a turnaround. Take them to within a point of Forest, climbing the Premier League table. It's still tight though, lots of teams separated by just a few points, but it's progress going in the right direction up the league. Bruno from Longstaff on this near side, Anderson wins it back, but a through ball that Awoniyi and Wood kind of left for each other. Fabian Schär has it. Isak is the target. Murillo's header goes up, doesn't go away. He wins a second one. Tonali with a nod out to the right to Joe Linton, onto Isak. Beautiful first touch.
Unlucky.
Out to Isak, and it's Nottingham Forest ball. Newcastle going 8th in the standings. If they can get another goal, it might take them above Fulham. Had a good week with a couple of wins. Matt Sells out from the back. We are almost at the end of the 90 minutes, and Michael Salisbury, the fourth official, says there'll be a minimum of 7 additional minutes. Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle 3. This gives the home fans, and to their credit, not many have left. Not many at all have gone early. Here's a cross from the far side. Dan Burn rises to head behind.
Oh, what an important header that was.
Awonyi was ready to nod it in behind him.
Yeah, huge touch that.
Forrest threatens to take a quick one. Sandro Tonali got out there to stop it. It's Elliot Anderson, near side of the pitch, to stick it in. And he does towards the near post. Livramento saw what was happening, got across to the near post area, headed it clear. He's trying to whip it in straight from the corner, and Nick Pope wasn't necessarily getting there, so Livramento had to defend it and did well. Ola Aina, the right back from left wing, with the long throw into the box. Barnes and Cher go for it. They both miss it. Awonyi keeps it alive. Back to James Ward-Prowse. He's played it against Barnes. And then Hall with a clearance. Barnes trying to chase, but Aina is back in a good covering position. And a pass inside to Murillo. Second minute of the 7 added on. Straight to Joelinton. Chance to go and wrap it up, maybe Newcastle. They've kept possession in midfield, and Forest managed to reset and get players back. But now Newcastle are on the move up the right wing with Isak to Tonali. Isak could get a return ball and does. 3 red shirts with him, still Isak. Tonali's onto it. Tonali's done really well in the corner. Kept them in possession. Tried to win a corner kick, but it's
all right. That's all right.
Eaten into the remaining time. Used up some more seconds. Newcastle from 1-0 down lead 3-1 on BBC Radio Newcastle. Closing stages also live on BBC Sounds. Remember, Total Sport tomorrow and every weekday evening from 6 until 8 with the latest from Newcastle and Sunderland, and you can phone in to have your say with former players from both clubs. James Ward-Prowse on the halfway line to Murillo, right of centre, across to the far touchline. Only Isak ahead of the ball. Yates for Ward-Prowse, and Yates again. Back it comes to Murillo. Livramento keeping an eye on Ramon Sosa on this near side as Murillo, rather than pick out a teammate. That was a thunderbolt from a long way out from Murillo. He is very capable. That was hit so firm. It was so firm and so true, and it went just over the top of the crossbar.
He's a mile out, isn't he? What a strike that is. Nick Pope always knew it was always going to be that fraction too high. Just watched it sail over the top of his bar.
Pope's goal kick straight out of play on the near side. No further Newcastle changes. 94th minute now. They showed 7 on the numbers board. Joelinton's caught Murillo. It's accidental. He's just checking on his Brazilian compatriot. Ball's back in play with Nottingham Forest at the back. 3-1 Newcastle. Isak with the equaliser. Joelinton put them in front, and Barnes extended the lead. All the goals in the second half after Murillo had headed Forest in front midway through the first. Cher with a header away from the edge of the box. Tonali to Joelinton. Bruno through the centre. Joelinton still carrying it. Turns, then goes forwards again. Anderson's pulled him down. It's been such a good second half, hasn't it, Ando?
It's been brilliant second half.
In every regard,
yeah,
I think.
Absolutely brilliant second half. The intensity and the pace just wasn't there in the first half. Second half, they've been outstanding.
Cher clips it forwards towards Isak, headed inside, but it's Milenkovic who's able to clear under no pressure. Then in midfield, Longstaff tries to win a challenge. Anderson over towards the far touchline, and Jota Silva gets the better of Lewis Hall. Jota Silva still going, and still towards the goal line. It's a great run, the cross to the far post. Wood heads it back over, and Pope.
What a bad header that is. Well, great header really for us.
He's tried to loop it inside the far post, I think. The Premier League's player of the month, Chris Wood's hardly had a kick.
Hasn't had a kick.
Up against Dan Burn and Fabian Schär. No repeat of his Boxing Day heroics for Forest. Big kick up into the attacking half. Isak can't hold it. Forest forwards. Hall, that's brilliant. He was falling and he was slipping, but he managed to volley it away. Bruno on the left wing trying to get on the inside of Aina. It's a throw on halfway. 90 seconds remaining. Newcastle with a 3-1 lead. Bruno waving his arms up and down in the direction of the travelling fans. I think they're going to try to bring on William Osula for the last few seconds. He's taken his bib off and his training gear. It'll only be for a few seconds if he does get on. The ball's back in play. It'll have to be very, very quick. Longstaff on it, on halfway. He slips. Forest regain possession. Ward-Prowse on the centre spot. Newcastle close to securing a big away victory from behind. Here's a cross into the penalty area. Schär's header. Bruno gets away from Anderson. Isak to his left. Bruno still with it. Finds Isak. Barnes goes beyond. Played in by Isak. Harvey Barnes now into the area. Harvey Barnes has missed the target. Oh, he should have made it 4-1. It was a great break, but Barnes couldn't finish.
What a chance. What a break that is. Yet again, Forest just haven't got the legs to go with him. And he gets clean through. It's on his left side. You fancy him all day long, don't you? And he just puts it wide.
Could even have had a look and roll it back to Tonali, but he had to take the shot on in that position. And he knows he should have doubled his tally for the afternoon. He's on to 4 this season. Isak's the top scorer with 5. 3-1 the lead. William Osula comes on for a few seconds.
Isak's been brilliant second half. They've all been brilliant second half.
Murillo under pressure from Osula, straight to Joelinton. Oh, no chance of another break, because there is the final whistle. What a second half. 1-0 down after 45 minutes. An absolutely superb performance. Every player that was involved played a big part, from defence through midfield to the forwards, in turning this match around in Newcastle United's favour with 3 goals and a few more that they should have had on top of that. Probably their best half of football of the season against third place Nottingham Forest. Newcastle have come to the City ground, and after not the best opening period, a superb response after half-time to win by 3-1, John Anderson.
Been brilliant second half, absolutely outstanding. Everything that was missing in the first half just appeared in the second half. That intensity, the pace, moving the ball quickly, getting it forward quick, getting players forward into areas, into space. Was missing in the first half. Second half it was all there, and to a man they were outstanding second half. Absolutely brilliant.
When the goal came, it was Isak off the post after a corner. They'd had a few moments before that, and that, I think, from that moment the confidence just grew, and you probably felt that this turnaround was going to come and they were going to go on and complete the job, which they did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, getting the equaliser was massive, because all of a sudden you could see the rise in the temperature from us as well. You know, that gave us a massive lift. Won it by 3, could have won it by more. Had other chances in the second half, but the turnaround was huge. Turnaround was absolutely huge. As I say, second half they were outstanding.
The away fans serenade the players as they make their way towards the goal at the right-hand side. They had a great view of all 3 of Newcastle's in the second half. Joelinton's, I'm sure, will be your favourite, the way he cut inside and hit the far corner.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great break. It was just a fabulous goal. The the pace at which they moved the ball and got forward so quickly, and he's just cut inside, he's opened his body up and he's just curled it in. Great goal, brilliant. Great team goal. As much as the goal itself and the strike was excellent, the movement and everything else about it was brilliant.
Harvey Barnes should have wrapped it up with a fourth right at the end there, shouldn't he, when he went through. They broke on Forest, well, relentlessly in the second half, but they did it with such conviction and purpose. You felt every time they were going to go forwards, they were going to score. This result, 3-1 winners, made it 3 victories in a row in all competitions, 2 in the Premier League back-to-back, and having won just 1 in 6, with being the Arsenal match. A corner has definitely been turned, you would say. Now there's enough evidence there across 3 games to suggest that in terms of results, but performance levels too.
Yeah, without a doubt, performance levels have gone through the roof. All of a sudden you're back scoring goals as well. Confidence is obviously high. One thing you didn't want was this international break to come along. Unfortunately it has. You would hope that's it. They're up and running now. They were absolutely brilliant today, second half.
It's an excellent result, a great second half performance, and an away day to savour. If you had to finally, Ando, pick out one player, I know it's hard because they all played so well. Is there anybody that...
I thought Isak was his movement again and his pace. Boys in midfield, because they just give you something different. Joe Willock's energy levels and his pace of getting you up the pitch. But I thought Isak was brilliant today.
Newcastle players making their way off the pitch. Bruno and Joe Linton waving to the fans, the last to leave the away end after some celebrations together. Simon Logan's 80s and 90s on the way next on BBC Radio Newcastle. 1-0 down at half-time here at the City Ground. Isak, Joe Linton and Barnes with 3 second-half goals to turn it around for Eddie Howe's team. And they leave with 3 points. The final score here at Nottingham Forest City Ground. Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle United 3.